Hello all and welcome to Astro Wheel of Fortune. My name is Vlada and I read tarot, and for this reading today I am doing a reading on what is the most interesting element or factor of your current relationship. Now this can be on any type of relationship. It doesn't have to be specifically a romantic relationship. It can be platonic, it can be a family relationship. I will be trying to connect it to different types of relationships. I'm going to be trying to explain the concepts that would go with different types of relationships. I don't want to limit it just to romantic or just to platonic. So you can ask this question about any person in your life. But yeah, my objective in this reading is to get the element or the factor of your relationship that is the most interesting, that maybe is the most compelling, the factor or the element that really matters the most right now, potentially. So that is what I'm trying to get within this reading. We have 4 groups. I'm going to be live shuffling on camera. We have group number 1 with red carnelian, we have group number 2 with citrine, group number 3 with rose quartz, and we've got group number 4 with black onyx. So with that, if you want to pause the video in order to meditate over the groups a little bit longer, if you want to take your time, you can do so now. See which group you're attracted to. Maybe you're attracted to 1, to 2, to 3, to all of them, or maybe you're attracted to none. If you're not attracted to any of the groups, I would say leave this video. There may not be a message here for you. Only listen to this reading if you genuinely do feel pulled to one of the groups. I do really want you to think and consider when you're going for these pick a card readings, pick a group readings. It's really important to sit with the video itself, no matter how much you like the reader, or no matter how much you like watching someone's content. I think it's really important to zone in and see if there is a message there for you. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. You can pause the video now if you want to have a bit more time to pick, and I'm gonna get started. We're starting with group number 1, and that's the red carnelian. So group number 1, let's get into your reading. Let's see what is the most compelling or interesting or notable factor between you and your person within your relationship connection, whatever type of connection it is. What is it right now? So let's get the energy. Okay. We've got the World card in reverse. We've got the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, and we've got the 8 of Cups upright. The most compelling factor in your connection or your relationship right now is that both of you are realizing that when you can't move forward with something, you need to release it or detach from it. So now this can be that both of you are finally realizing that if something in your connection is not working out, that it's time to maybe detach from each other. Or maybe both of you are realizing a certain part of your connection isn't working, a certain way of dealing with the connection isn't working, and so it feels like both parties are kind of detaching from the outcome. And something that feels very interesting and fascinating about this connection is that you were always meant to come to this lesson with this person. That's what it feels like, whether this is a friend or a partner or a romantic connection or a family member. It's almost like you had some sort of soul contract with this person, that your lesson together in this lifetime would always be like, if it doesn't work, if no matter how hard you work on it, no matter how much effort you put into it, no matter how much you care for it to work, if it doesn't work, and if you're exhausted and if you're tired, it's time to release it. And I don't mean it's necessarily that you're releasing the connection altogether, but maybe there are certain elements of your connection that no longer work and are no longer serving you. Maybe either of you or both of you. There is this feeling of like I just want to allow it to occur naturally. So maybe there's a feeling between the two of you, you and your person, the person that you're asking about. Maybe there is a feeling of, I just want this to occur naturally. I just want this to work out, or like it's in universe's hands. Like there's something about surrendering here as well, like surrendering to the universe. Or maybe you were meant to teach each other how to surrender to your own circumstances sometimes, and that sometimes it's just impossible to control your circumstances. But I feel like if we were gonna look at it from the lens of the question of like, what is so compelling about your connection, and specifically in this moment, but I feel like in general for you and this person, whether you go through cycles of this or whether it's just a one-time thing, the most compelling thing about your relationship is that it's meant to teach you that you sometimes need to be okay with just walking away from certain things in the relationship, or you have to be okay with walking away from certain people. That it has to be a practice. Sometimes there needs to be detachment, and that it does not mean that there's no feelings, or that there's no love between the two people, or that there's no care, no respect. It just means that sometimes it's time to detach and move on. For a lot of you, I do think that it's not necessarily that you need to detach from this person completely. I do feel like, it kind of feels like for about half of you, the situation is more so about detaching from the outcome of your connection, or detaching from the outcome of what should come out of it. So there is this feeling that I feel like both of you, but especially your person that you're asking about, there is this feeling that your person especially, but you, I think you are on the same kind of page as well, but your person specifically really feels like they just want to allow things to happen on their own, and they don't want to try and control the outcome of your connection. They don't want to try and control how you see them. Maybe in the past, I feel like maybe the person that you're asking about in the past really tried to control the way that you saw them. For some reason, I'm picking up on that. They really tried to control the way that you observed them, the way that you understood them, or the way that you digested them. And I feel like they're finally at a place where they just don't, not that they don't care in that kind of, for some of you maybe, they don't care because they're just apathetic to it at this point. I mean, you will know, so use your intuition as well with, if you're not on speaking terms with this person, potentially maybe they don't care how you see them anymore. But if you are on speaking terms with this person is still kind of in your life, or maybe if you really feel intuitively that they do still care, it does feel more like, it's not that they don't care about how you see them, it's more like they're detached from it. It doesn't matter what way you see them, because they want to probably work on themselves. But it kind of makes me feel like you're feeling the same thing. There is a sense of detachment between the two of you right now, and I feel like it kind of swings back and forth. There's this feeling with this group, like you and your person go through periods where sometimes you're completely detached, and sometimes there's this feeling of, okay, let us work on this connection. Let us work on how we see each other, and how we connect to each other, and how we interpret each other's forms of communication. But then the pendulum swings again, and it goes back to being detached. So I think detachment is a recurring theme in your connection, no matter how long you've known this person. So if you've only known this person for a very little amount of time, potentially maybe you haven't seen the side of detachment reoccurring, or detachment being a theme in this connection. But I feel like it's kind of like, if you were souls and you were signing the contract before you came on Earth, it's kind of like that was the ultimate clause in the contract. Like, we must practice detachment with each other. And it feels like you're finally both of you are finally upholding the contract clause, the contract, or upholding the rules of the contract, because you're finally starting to practice that detachment. You're finally starting to practice that energy of whatever will be, will be. whatever happens, and I'm surrendering any sort of control. It does feel like you have to be extra patient with this person, and maybe this person has to be extra patient with you. You kind of, it feels like you take turns with this person. It almost feels like you take turns. I keep hearing we take turns babysitting each other. I don't know if that resonates with all of you, but I do feel like you take turns in looking after one another and being patient with each other. So maybe there are moments in this connection where you are the more patient one and you take the time to really put effort into this person and listen to them no matter how difficult they are. And maybe there's moments where this person takes time to really input into you and be very patient with you. Again, this is a general reading, so if you don't feel that, if you, from your perspective, really feel like you were the only one being patient with this person, that's absolutely fine. But I do feel for most of you, there's like taking turns. We're taking turns in being patient with each other. It keeps coming up. Okay, let's get more information on your relationship with this person. Peachy paradise, enjoy the view in front of you, happiness, contentment, and gratitude. Yeah, I feel like at the very core, this person is very grateful for you, and I feel like you are very grateful for this person. Even if there are residual feelings of resentment or maybe residual feelings of exhaustion with each other, at the very core, at the very end of the day, there is this sense of gratitude. And it makes me feel like that taking turns thing is really standing out to me, because I feel like you know how to hold space for each other. Or maybe you did know how to hold space for each other, you and this person. And maybe that was another part of your soul contract, or that was another part of the agreement between the two of you, that you would hold space for each other, that you would hold space for, I'm hearing hold space for me to unravel. So maybe both of you give each other the opportunity to unravel in front of the other. Maybe you've seen each other in not very I'm kind of getting, I don't have to be curated around you. So maybe there is this sense of not having to curate yourself in front of this person, being able to be messy, maybe even being able to be a little bit chaotic, or, okay, let me think. There's this feeling like it's controlled chaos, though. It kind of feels like you and this person are able to unravel in front of each other in some sort of way, or be messy with each other in some sort of way, but it never stayed for too long. And it's always like you took turns with each other, or maybe you're taking turns with each other consistently right now. But at the same time, your guides are kind of coming in and they're showing me that it's really important, as good as this taking turns thing is, and holding space for each other is, and allowing the other person to be chaotic, and you know, the other person allowing you to be chaotic, it's really also important to detach from time to time. And sometimes, even if it is your turn to hold space, it may not always be possible. And it almost feels like your guides are saying there's a need to understand that even if it is your turn to do something, sometimes that's not how life works. And sometimes even if it's your turn to go at something, you may not be in a position to do it. And so it kind of feels like your guides are saying, maybe you're in a place right now where it is your turn to hold space for this person. Maybe it is your turn to look after them in their chaotic state, but it's maybe not something that you can actually take emotionally, because I'm looking at the 8 of Cups and it kind of feels like I'd love to, and I really want to, but I don't want to maybe take turns anymore. There is this kind of feeling. It kind of feels like maybe a system that you and this person worked out, where it was like, I'm chaotic, then you're chaotic, then I'm chaotic, then you're chaotic, and let's hold space for each other, and let's have this kind of interaction with each other. It's just not working anymore. It's a system that is outdated. It's a system that doesn't serve you anymore. That's kind of what I'm getting here. So your guides are kind of saying it's okay to detach, or to express to the person that you want to detach from the cycle that is not working anymore, because the World card in reverse, it makes me think of a cycle that's been played out, a cycle that will not bear any fruit anymore, a cycle that maybe worked in the past but is not going to work in the future. And it does feel like your guides are saying, I do feel like a lot of you in this connection can like work that out. I don't think this is a problem. I mean, it is a challenge to work out for both of you, but it doesn't feel like it's a massive major problem. Enjoy the view in front of you. Maybe there's a need to observe each other rather than input action into each other right now. And maybe that's something that you and this person are trying to do. Like, you're trying to observe each other rather than take action or make sudden moves. It does feel like a challenge that the two of you can overcome. That is something that I'm picking up on for most of you. Let me pull more cards. I'm going to pull from this deck as well. Okay, so we've got luck with lime. It does feel like you and this person feel lucky to have met each other, even in the times where things are not easy, because I do feel like a lot of investments are needed in this connection or in this relationship, whatever type of a relationship it is. You must constantly invest into this person, and this person must constantly invest into you. And as hard as it is, there's a lot of kind of Saturnian energy that I'm picking up on in this group. As hard as it is to do that, it's also massively rewarding, I think. And I feel like the longer you know this person, and that's why it feels like this connection makes sense more the longer you are around this person, or the longer you're with this person, especially if this is like someone you have known for a very long time, like since childhood or anything like that. Especially this is like a friendship that has lasted years and years and years. What it feels like to me is that the longer you know this person, the more you understand why so much investment had to be put into them. Because it kind of feels like a connection where investments are constantly needed, and they may not be very easy. It's not very easy to put these investments in. But at the same time, they have huge payoffs. But these payoffs, you may need to wait a very long time for these payoffs to occur. It's kind of like, there's big, massive moments of realization, I feel, with this person where you go, wow, this person makes me really happy, and I'm really content, and I'm really, really grateful for them. I'm massively, massively grateful for them. But it's these moments of just pure gratitude, like pure love and pure gratitude for this person. But it's, to have those massive moments, there needs to be this kind of like uphill trajectory that you need to go on. And I feel like you've realized that it's difficult, and you realize that there's work that is required in order to have that. But I do feel like you're willing to put in the effort, and I do feel like this person is willing to put in the effort. However, all that being said, you also need to practice the art of detachment with this person, where no matter how much you put into this person, at times, you will need to completely detach from this person and live your life outside of them. So, for example, if this is a friend, maybe it is that sometimes you will have to go off and maybe move countries and go live a different life than them, because you need to figure out different things. If this is a romantic partner, it's like you and this romantic partner have to have separate lives or lifestyles where you don't interact with each other as much. It doesn't mean that you have to break up and have like this, big separation from this person, but there's moments in time within this connection, whether it's romantic, platonic, or family, where you will need to detach from each other quite significantly in order to grow, and not just grow as individuals, but also grow as a couple, or as a friendship, or as a sibling relationship, whatever this relationship is. And it's kind of like you have to allow each other to detach as well. So again, detachment seems to be super, super important in this connection. But I do feel a sense of gratitude and real appreciation for each other. I almost feel unspoken or quiet appreciation for each other a lot of the time. It doesn't mean that you don't tell each other how much you care about each other or how much you mean to each other, but it feels like a lot of what is communicated can be very silent, or the very present. Maybe you have a lot of comfortable silences with this person. Maybe it's very easy to be with this person in silence. That is something that I'm picking up. It's like, this is the kind of person where when you sit in the same room, it's just like, oh, like I get you and you get me, and we don't actually really need to have a conversation. We can just sit here and enjoy this kind of like very close connection that has very subtle type of communication that is more intuitive or more spiritual, emotional. It doesn't have to be with our words. Because see the way these two people are just kind of sitting there admiring this like scenery. It kind of, that's the energy that I'm getting with you and this person. Doesn't matter whether it's, romantic, platonic, family. There's just this feeling of like, let's just observe and appreciate what we have in front of us and the energy that we have between us. We don't have to say a word about it because we get it anyway. Like, what are we gonna say that we don't get already? There's that kind of feeling with you and this person. But in order for that to happen, you need to practice detachment. It's like you need to detach from the need to know what the person is thinking exactly and just feel into what you think not even what you think they're feeling intuitively, but intuitively pick up on what they're thinking or intuitively pick up on what they are experiencing in that moment. There's a need to detach from knowing what this person's thinking of you or what. Oh, okay, so detachment, it's kind of like mini detachment as well. It's not on a big scale only where it's like, like I was saying, to allow each other to live separate lives and, maybe if they move across the country or across the world, allowing for that to happen and you going on your separate journey. But this can also involve allowing detachment in your smallest interactions with this person, being detached from the outcome of, a conversation with this person, being detached from the outcome of, the point of this connection feels like, when you walk away from a conversation with a person, you're meant to walk away from a conversation with this person and not be in your head about, oh, what did they mean when they said that? What did they mean when they made that face or, made that noise or said that kind of thing? Persistence, patience, and practicality with earth. Yeah, there is a very earthy vibe to your connection. But the earthy vibe that I'm picking up on, a lot of your connection with this person is meant to be, I just keep getting the imagery of like two animals interacting. And for some reason I'm getting cats especially. So maybe for the two of you, there is a feeling, the way cats interact with each other, it's very rarely verbal. It's mostly, they will walk around each other and they'll, nudge into each other to give each other like a little hug sometimes, or their tails will wrap around one another. But it's very silent. It's very intuitive. It's rarely, obviously sometimes cats will meow at each other, but there is this feeling like you and this person interact better when your interaction is very subtle and maybe a little bit more quiet, maybe when less is said. And like, I'm a big advocate of communication and clear communication and speaking, but I feel like for some reason with this specific group, I am picking up on needing to speak less. One thing that I'm getting is that maybe you and this person sometimes talk over each other, or it's like you want to be heard so bad that you end up, in your pursuit to be heard, you talk over each other, but in reality that just makes the two of you feel even less heard. And so what's best sometimes, I keep getting silence. Like, silence is golden. Silence is golden for the two of you. You can actually gain more by just like not necessarily not speaking, but like I suppose listening more and to each other, listening to each other specifically, but just sitting in each other's presence can do wonders for the two of you. Rather than, worrying what you're going to say. And I suppose to sit in each other's presence and to be quiet and not to say anything, that's the ultimate detachment, isn't it? When you're in, I know the people that I feel comfortable being around and sitting in complete silence with, I am detached from what they think of me, and not because I don't care, not because I don't love those people. It's the opposite. It's because I'm so comfortable in their love, and I'm so comfortable in their connection to me, that I'm detached from the outcome. Persistence, patience, and practicality. You could also maybe benefit from a more practical approach with this connection. Maybe trying to see this connection from a more practical point of view. Like practically, what makes sense practically to us as people. Maybe even having conversations. You and this person could have some very compelling conversations around what you find practical and what they find practical. And you could find there's a lot of differences, but you could learn a lot from each other, because your idea of practicality is very different. Look at that Capricorn energy. We've got a lot of Saturnian energy. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Ambition, realism, and methodical steps. Methodical steps is standing out to me. There's like, I keep hearing there's method to our madness. And I feel like for a lot of you, you have the energy of like best friends. Even if you're in a romantic connection, it feels like you're almost best friends first, and then you're in a relationship. Something about this energy screams like we're friends, like best friends, we're friends for life. There's this, mutual bestie feeling. And even if you don't resonate with that message, I almost want to challenge you to see it from that perspective. I wonder if your person sometimes sees you from that perspective. There's something about you that makes them feel like you could be really great friends. If this is a romantic connection, if you're interested, there's one part of this that I'm picking up on. If you're interested in this person romantically, this is not for all of you, but for some of you, you may actually be attracted to them as a friend, but you're confusing it for a romantic attraction. And it may not be making sense to you right now, because you're like, no, I'm really attracted to this person. I really like them. There's like a physical attraction. And that may be true. You may find them physically attractive. You may find them beautiful from that perspective. But something about this person feels like it's pulling you in more so from a friend perspective. And it's like you don't even realize it. It's so subtle. But again, it's like practicing detachment can help you. If you practice detachment, for a lot of you, where that is the case, where you are it's almost like you're meant to be friends. You're meant to be really good friends, like very solid friends, very trustworthy friends to each other. And for a lot of you who are in a romantic connection with this person, or you definitely know that there is a lot of romantic and sexual connection between the two of you. It could be that your guides are just saying it's really important to foster and to invest into the friendship side of things, that platonic kind of camaraderie between you and this person. And maybe you're investing into the more romantic side of things right now, or maybe you're investing and maybe that's where the detachment can come from, because when you invest into like the more friendship side of things, and when you start seeing someone as more of a friend, I suppose you can be a little bit more detached, because in social settings, not for everyone, because I don't completely agree with that, because I know I get really stressed about friendships myself personally, and I feel like I've always been more stressed about friendships, if anything, than any other type of relationship. But for you specifically, because we're talking about, I don't want to insert my own opinions here, for you specifically, it could actually be easier. if you were to focus in on a more platonic kind of attitude towards this person, not completely, not necessarily, you know, especially if you're in a relationship with this person, you're asking the question. I think you just have a very good, there's a lot of potential for friendship. There's a lot of potential for this kind of, I mean, we've got fifth house, which is a romantic house. So maybe the cards are correcting me. And we've got Leo. That's cool. Fifth house and Leo. You're meant to have a lot of fun with this person. I do see that, but it's almost like the way to have fun with this person is detachment. Taking methodical steps towards detachment, being very practical and working your way towards this detached state where you can then observe each other. And observing each other is really, really helpful, like I said, with that. And it's funny because I was talking about cats and we've got the Leo energy and it's like lion energy, right? But it just reminds me of that cat-like energy where it's all about observing, and cats really like to observe. Cats really like to watch. Maybe you find this person watches you a lot and observes you a lot, or maybe you find yourself observing this person a lot. But there's power in that, and there's a lot of merit in that, in observing each other from your own corners, from your own perspectives, understanding each other, detaching once you understand each other. And that's when connecting to each other can become more fun and more expressive. I feel like at the very core, where you're meant to end up with this person is in a very fun and friendly and relaxed place. So if you are stressed about this person right now, which I feel like you might be, some of you definitely could be, it feels like your guides are almost like, you don't need to stress, you just need to detach. Stressing is only going to prolong... See? Stressing is only going to prolong this situation. Stressing is only going to prolong this feeling of chaos, maybe. And it's like, the thing is, you don't need to hold space for each other's chaos. You need to hold space for your own chaos, step away, observe each other's chaos from a little bit of a distance, understand each other's chaos, then come together and say, I understand your chaos, but I need to be detached. Do you understand my chaos? Yes, I understand your chaos. I'm very grateful for you for understanding my chaos, and I'm very grateful for you for understanding my chaos, but we will not get involved in each other's chaos. And so it almost feels like your system of holding space for each other's chaos worked for a while. But now it's really important to detach, hold space for your own chaos, and work with each other from a different perspective. The way that it feels, it's like you need to just flip how you've been operating with this person. And again, it's like, I'm not just talking about you needing to do it, but it's also they need to do it from a certain point of view. But the way that you do it is detachment. And then we go into Leo energy, which is very loyal energy. It's very excitable energy. It's really fun energy. It's very, very generous as well. There's something within this because Leo and Capricorn, I find Capricorn energy to be very, very generous, but it's very careful who it's generous with. And it really does feel here like both of you really want to be generous with each other. Whoever this person is, whoever you are, you want to be generous. You want to be giving with each other. But there is maybe a need to figure out how you want to give, not how the other person wants to receive, but more so like, no, what am I actually willing to give, and how am I actually willing to be loyal to this person? But detachment, again, like I'm sorry for repeating myself, but it feels like detachment is the ultimate key here. Without detachment, it kind of feels, and this is not to be harsh or anything like that. Again, as I described, detachment can be practiced in many different ways, in little ways and big ways. But without detachment, your connection is kind of pointless. And it's not to say that everything else in the connection is pointless. It's not. But detachment is almost like the glue that brings all of this beautiful energy together. Detachment is what brings the fifth house elements into your relationship. Romance, if it is that kind of connection. Drama, but like fun kind of drama. Fun, excitement, celebration. Plenty of excitable energy. Plenty of loyalty, gratitude, happiness, contentment, luck. All of that can be brought into your connection with detachment. It's like kind of feels like, when you're working in chemistry, or you're doing something with chemicals, it's like certain chemicals, they just kind of like sit in a bowl together, or like in a bottle or whatever, or in a flask. They're just there, and then you add one chemical and it creates something completely different. And your kind of like special ingredient is detachment with this person. So yeah, that's what I have for you, group number 1. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I really liked doing it for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you did like this reading, do like, subscribe, and comment. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see what feedback you have to leave. But I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move on to the next group. So we're moving on to group number 2, which is the citrine group. And let's see, you and your person, what is the most compelling or interesting element in your connection right now? This can be platonic, romantic, family connection, whatever it is. Let's get into it. Group 2, what do they need to know about their connection with this person? What is the most interesting? Oh, 2 of Cups. The truth is you're very compatible. First and foremost, one of the most fascinating things about your connection is your utmost compatibility. Your utmost understanding of each other. I mean, getting the whole idea of like finishing each other's sentences, knowing what the other person is thinking before they're even thinking it. Like there's that kind of feeling. It feels like a really nice connection, honestly. We've got the 3 of Wands and we've also got the 4 of Swords. Which is in reverse. I do feel like one of the most compelling parts of this connection or this relationship between you and this person is the fact that you understand each other, but it's not only on a level of like, oh, what's in front of me right now. You understand each other from the perspective of potential and from the perspective of where you could go. As individuals, as a couple, as friends, whatever it is, there's this innate understanding like, oh, I get you. I know exactly what you're trying to achieve in life. You also, I can tell you can totally see what I'm trying to achieve in life. And I really, really resonate with your energy. You really, really resonate with my energy. And I'm wishing you all the best. There's this really... like, you just gel very well with this person. Something about your energy feels like if the 2 of your souls had lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes to work out teamwork and to work out how to understand each other. I feel like in this lifetime, you are mastering it. There's something about you and this person maybe having a soul contract where you're meant to master understanding and compassion for each other and understanding of each other's potential. One thing I also feel, I really love this energy because something that I'm getting is that you and this person, you will never let each other procrastinate. But it feels like we think of procrastination as like, oh, I'm procrastinating to like apply for this job or to fill out this form or like, and maybe some parts of that are true, but what you won't ever allow each other to procrastinate on is each other's potential. I think that's the most compelling part of your relationship with this person. Whether it be a friend or a romantic connection, you will not let each other forget what you're meant to achieve in this lifetime, but I also feel like lifetimes after this. Wow, like this is very interesting. To me, this feels kind of like, someone who goes, if you were like a applying for jobs or something like that, and you were going for an interview and you were kind of feeling down on yourself and you were thinking, oh, what's the point? I'm gonna fail that interview anyway and nobody's gonna hire me. And you kind of get in your feelings and you're like self-pitying mode, which we all do. This person would be like, hey, no, don't you dare say that. No, you have so much potential. You can achieve so much. You're gonna go so far. Don't you ever fucking forget that. Like, there's that kind of feeling between you and this person. I really, really like this energy. I'm really, really enjoying it. I wonder if a lot of people enjoy being around the two of you. There's something, it's like the two of you come in, like these two elements that just complement each other so well. And something that's really nice about this energy as well is that you're not overly, while you are such a nice couple of friends or people or literal couple, you are not someone who is, you're not codependent on each other. You can still do very beautiful and amazing things without each other, but it's like you keep each other in check. There's something but it's not this intense energy, or it's not super judgy. You don't shame each other for anything. It doesn't feel like that anyway. If you feel like that doesn't resonate, maybe this is not a group for you, because what I'm getting with this group is like genuine, like I'm going to keep you in check and I will make sure that you are continuing your journey towards your potential, and I'm going to make sure that you're not procrastinating on any of your potential. But I'm not going to shame you for it, and I'm not going to make you feel shit about it. Like, if you are having a bad day, I'm going to let you have a bad day. I'm going to let you maybe wallow in a bit of self-pity, wallow in a bit of victimization. But, like, I'm not going to make you feel like shitty or judgmental of yourself. But I will push you, and I will do my very best to push you into a place where you're not in that self-pitying energy, where you're not throwing yourself a pity party. But if you need it right now, go ahead. It's like, that's the way, and it feels like the two of you do that for each other. I honestly do feel like this kind of feels like people who like grow old together, whether it's friends or a couple. It's like, we're gonna grow old together, but even if you don't, like, one thing that I will say, please take these with a grain of salt. Obviously this is a general reading. Even if, like, maybe this is not someone that you talk to anymore or something like that, I don't know who you're asking about, but there's still that energetic value to it. I feel like when this person was in your life, that is exactly what they, like, the purpose that they served. And it kind of does feel like, one thing that I am getting is that this is not your last lifetime with this person. Like, I feel like there's many more. I keep hearing there's more projects that we have to work on together. So it does feel like you will have more projects. You will have more things to do together. Some of you could be co-workers. I am getting a very emotional thing here, but maybe for some of you, maybe you started out as co-workers. We've got home. Come back home to yourself. Being around this person could feel like coming back home to yourself. This person feels like home. This person feels like family. Maybe this is literal family, a family member. Come back home to yourself, belonging, celebration, and stability. I do feel like you and this person are meant to have a lot of stable moments together. There's meant to be this feeling of utmost stability and comfort, and it's like, it's okay. Things may not be perfect, but things are okay. We're together, we're working together, we're processing things together. And yes, it's not always easy. It's not always the way that we would like things to be, but it's always the perfect fit for us. Like, there's that kind of feeling that I'm getting. I feel like even when you have conflicts with this person, there's a lot of like forgiving energy. There's a lot of energy of like, look, didn't like that you did that. Wasn't cool. Please don't do that again. But what's done is done. I also keep hearing would've, could've, should've, didn't. So I don't know if that's something that you say or if it's something that it kind of feels like maybe if one of you says, oh, I should have done this, I'm really sorry I didn't do this for you, I should have done this, the other might just be like, oh yeah, like you should have, you could have, whatever, like you didn't. So if you didn't, you didn't, but I'm not gonna like sit around and think about what you should have done. Or, you know, there's a forgiving nature, and there's a nature of like not wanting to shame each other. It's like, okay, what's done is done, let's just move forward and move on to the next thing. But it's like, if you obviously, but the thing is that's the thing, you learn your lessons very well with each other. It feels like, it's like if something was done that was disappointing or sad to one of the people in this connection, it's like the next time they don't do it anymore because the lesson has been learned. You're not a couple of people who continue doing the same shit over and over to each other, or you don't get stuck in cycles. And maybe that's why you are so compelling to be around, because people notice. I feel like people from the outside notice that you don't repeat the same cycles with each other, that you always move on from the cycle that you've been in the past. Yeah, healing energy. We've got healing with geranium. That feels right. I mean, I feel like you have very healing energy to each other. I feel like, I keep hearing you're my medicine, but like, I don't, that's very dramatic, I know, but like, I suppose, there's maybe almost like a medicinal energy that you feel when you're around each other. It can feel very healing to be in each other's presence. It can feel very healing to have, I feel like when you have a conversation with each other, when you and your person talk, you're able to hear, because the thing that I'm looking at as well is that this reminds me of do you ever see like the Mercury symbol? It's like in a lot of medical certs and stuff like that, you will see the snake around the, oh, I don't know what the exact name of the image is, but it's, some of you will know, it's like you see it on medical certs, or a lot of things will have this symbol, and I'm pretty sure it's Mercury. And Mercury is obviously about communication, but then it's used, like that symbol is used in medicine. And I keep thinking about how like your communication with this person and the way that you speak to each other is really healing, and it almost works like this medicinal property to one another. It's like, I can heal a lot just by talking to you. And I feel like it doesn't always have to be that you're talking about your issues or you're talking about things that are specifically bothering you. A lot of the time it's literally just the conversation and the way that it flows and the words that you use and the language and how the language is charged with what emotions it's charged with. It's just like heals you, both of you. I feel like you and this person love seeing each other again. Every single time that you get to see each other again, it's like, oh, that's really nice. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so glad that I am getting to see this person again. It's almost a relief to see this person when you've been apart from them. And that's a really, really nice thing. Okay, let's pull some more cards. I'm going to pull some astrology cards. What else do we have for this group 2? We've got house 1, or first house, which is individuality, self-image, and approach to life. One thing that I'm getting also, first house is the ascendant, and for some reason, I never get this message when I pull the first house, but for some reason in this instance, something that I'm getting, especially if you're in a romantic connection, your appearance, maybe your style, the way that you dress, I keep hearing easy on the eyes, but it's not in a way that you would think. It's not kind of like, it's not a very superficial way of viewing it. The aesthetic that you hold and this person holds, it's not necessarily that it appeals to the two of you from that aesthetic point of view. It's more like something is very soothing about each other's aesthetics for the two of you. It's like when you look at this person, it's not necessarily that you're like, oh my God, they're so hot, I want to like rip their clothes off if this is a romantic connection or something, or that you're like obsessed with the way that they look. It's not that. There's something easy on the eyes. It's like I feel relaxed when I look at you, because it's not even just your vibe, it's not just the way you talk to me, but your very appearance and your very way of expressing yourself through your clothes, through your hair, through your physicality appeals to me. I'm also getting body language. It's like each other's body language is really like naturally makes you feel relaxed. That's really nice. And look, if you are not resonating with this group, I don't think this group is for you, because I do feel like this is a very specific group. I feel like this is a group of friends who just love each other and care for each other, or partners who just really, really want to be in a relationship and see the love and the potential within the connection. Like, if you don't feel that way about the person that you're asking about, this is not the group for you. And I think, I'm going to guess that most of you do feel like this about the person that you're asking about. And we've also got Gemini here. So curiosity, intellect, and networking. And also Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And as I was mentioning, Mercury and Gemini talks about conversations. Gemini is very curious, loves talking, loves communicating, loves sharing ideas. That's another thing with the networking, though. I'm kind of like... the fact that networking came up, I find that really interesting, because networking, the way that I'm picking up on it here is that maybe you are also the two of you have connected each other with people from your circles or something like that. Like, I'm almost picking up, if you came together, it's like you needed to know some people from their circle, and they really needed to know some people from your circle. It's not just about the two of you. It's like you've connected each other's tribes to each other. It's not just about you as individuals. It's your tribes that come together as well. And that's why I keep getting like the idea of a relationship, like literally the two people being in a relationship, and it's like they bring their families together, their friends, and it's like their friends are meant to become like, or some of their friends are meant to become your friends, and some of your friends are meant to become their friends. You're meant to weave your lives together quite strongly, but it's not meant to be forceful. It's meant to be, it feels like a lot of things that happen between the two of you are very natural. Very, very natural. And I can see that both of you see each other as extremely, extremely smart. Like, extremely intelligent. But not intelligent in that kind of way where it's in any way, like, up its own hole. Or, like, in any way where it's very haughty or very boastful. Or it's this quiet intellect. It's this quiet, smart, very... like down-to-earth intellect is what I'm picking up on. And I think the two of you know that about each other. And you don't need to be the smartest people in the room. You're not craving that. And by not craving it, a lot of the time, that's exactly what you are. A lot of the time, you are the smartest people. But something that I'm getting with the two of you, I mean, I feel like I'm blowing smoke up your ass, group 2, Jesus. But it's just how the cards are coming across to me here. But what it feels like is that the two of you recognize how intelligent each one is, and there's no need to prove to each other that you're intelligent. It's like, well, I know they're smart. Like, why would I need to tell them about how smart I am or express my intelligence and my cleverness to them when, like, I know they know. And I know that I know, like, they know that I know that they're extremely intelligent. I'm literally genius. Literally genius. We've got Uranus. Genius energy. You are like two geniuses that are just... And the two geniuses that know that the two of you have so much potential. I feel like a lot of you could create really beautiful projects together if you wanted to as well. But I also feel like that's not necessarily something that's needed. It's like you can do things individually or you can do things together. You can do things on your own or you can do things together. I think you allow each other to be complete individuals. And that is something that is very, very important to the both of you. Some of you could actually have Uranus in your first house. maybe in your chart. Also, I kind of feel like maybe one of you or both of you can be ruled by Mercury, Gemini or Virgo risings. Or maybe you have Mercury in your first house. So that's kind of the astrological placements that I'm picking up. Mercury in first house, or maybe you're ruled by Mercury, Gemini or Virgo rising, or maybe you have Uranus in your first house, one or both of you. But it does feel like there's a lot of originality, there's a lot of intellect, but it's that kind of intellect where it doesn't need to be constantly seen, it doesn't need to be constantly witnessed. It's like, well, it's fine. You're very I feel like both of you, or like especially you, I feel, you're very secure in your intelligence. Like you don't need to prove it to anybody. You're just kind of like, well, it's there. If someone doesn't want to see it, that's cool. I'm cool with it. But this person does see it. This is just a really nice connection. I just really, really like it. I like it. And we've got solar eclipse, revolution. I do feel like you and this person, it's almost like the two of you don't even understand the significance that you will have, or the impact that you will have or have had on each other. It's like there is a little bit of this like underestimating yourself, maybe a little bit, and maybe that's why you're meant to meet this person, because this person's meant to show you like, don't underestimate yourself, don't see yourself as less. Maybe you're meant to show each other how genius you are. Potentially that is the most compelling thing about your relationship, is that the two of you are so individually smart and are so intelligent and intellectual on this individual level. But maybe you kind of underestimate yourselves when you're alone. But when you're with this person, the two of you are like, do you even know how smart you are? You are literally so intelligent. You're capable of so many things. You are meant to do so many great things. I feel like you do a lot of motivational speaking to each other. Group 2. It feels like you really motivate each other. But yeah, if I had to summarize this reading, because I feel like I should be wrapping it up. But if I had to summarize this reading, what I feel with this group is that your most compelling part of the relationship, or your most compelling connection, or your most compelling element of the connection, is that you are each other's motivators and you keep each other in check when it comes to pursuing your potential. It's like, whenever you're slacking on pursuing your potential, whenever you're slacking on seeing the extent of what you are capable of and how smart you are, how intelligent you are, this person's like, get that in check, you know? I'll be here for you if you want to cry on my shoulder, but get it in check. And then if they do the same, you're right there with them. And it's really nice. I'm getting the nicest energy from this group. It was a pleasure doing this reading. I honestly feel like I just feel elated in my energy after doing this reading. Really, really beautiful. Whoever this person is, beautiful connection, beautiful friendship, beautiful relationship. I don't know, maybe this is your sibling, whoever it is. There's something very special here between the two of you, and something that is very uplifting, a lot of uplifting energy. Okay, let's move on. We're going to move on to our next group. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this reading and you enjoyed the messages, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. And I'm going to move on. We're moving on to group 3, and that is the rose quartz. Here it is. Let's get into your reading, the rose quartz reading. What is the most compelling, the most interesting element or factor in your relationship with the person that you're asking about? Let's get into it. What is important to note? We've got the Knight of Swords in reverse, the Sun, and the Eight of Pentacles. One of the very interesting factors in this connection, what it feels like, is that it kind of feels like both of you could have some sharp tongues, like a sharp tongue. but it comes almost from a, like, it comes from a good place. And there's something about you and this person, or maybe one of you. It doesn't necessarily have to be both of you. If you resonate that it's just one of you, then take that, because one of you might be a bit gentler, but for a lot of you, it can be that both of you have this attitude or this element where you come from a really good place, and it comes from a very, maybe even like childlike place, or a place of genuine care. Excuse me. But it doesn't always come out that way, or it doesn't always project that way. And one of the things that I'm seeing is that this connection can be revived or regenerated many times just through pure positive intention. One thing that both of you and this person have, is that you have an abundance of positive intention. You are almost like you're two people who just know how to want the best for other people. You are two people who know how to wish the best for other people and yourself as well. But it is a connection that requires a lot of work. A lot of work and a lot of discipline is what I'm hearing. There's a need for discipline within this connection. And, discipline can manifest itself in many different ways. And for you, there needs to be discipline with communication is what I'm feeling. Like, this positive intention can do a lot for you. It can do a lot for you in this connection, both you and this person. But there is not enough discipline in your communication. That can mean a bunch of things. That can mean that maybe sometimes one or both of you blurt out things that you don't really think about a lot. Or it could be that you don't listen enough. Or maybe that it's you tend to say things that are a bit harsh or blunt. And I'm not saying you specifically you, but maybe it's both of you or one of you. I do feel like it's both of you potentially for a lot of you in this connection, or it's kind of like one of you is the culprit when it comes to not listening and maybe speaking over the other person, and the other one doesn't set enough boundaries. There's that kind of imbalance here. But the thing is, both parties at the very, very core of the reading, at the very, very core of this message, both parties want this to be a positive experience. Both parties want things to work out in a positive manner. But it's almost like there's no discipline. So maybe there's no discipline around setting boundaries. There's no discipline around waiting to speak sometimes, or waiting to hear the other person out. So there's a need for discipline around your communication with this person. Maybe it's that one person is constantly texting the other one, and maybe constantly wanting to talk, but maybe the other person needs to pull back and doesn't like to talk as often as the other person. There's that kind of imbalance. It's like maybe there needs to be a set of rules, like this is how we communicate, don't text me when I'm in work, or there's that kind of feeling here. But then maybe on the other side, if there's a person who needs a lot of communication, the person who doesn't need as much communication needs to understand that they need to also accommodate the person that needs a lot of communication, and they need to accommodate them in a way where they explain what they're doing, and they explain and communicate their exact feelings, because maybe the other person gets anxious when there is this kind of imbalance of, like, maybe one person has one style of communication and the other person has the other style of communication, and they don't gel very well because there's no communication about the styles of communication. So it's kind of like communication inception that is going on here. That's what it feels like. And there's a need to kind of just unravel that, set a few rules, set a routine, maybe set, like, here, let's text these hours or this time, or let's talk on this day. Or like when we communicate, let's communicate this way, and here's how I need you to communicate with me so I'm comfortable. Please tell me how you need me to communicate with you so that you feel comfortable. There's that kind of need here to establish that. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. The most compelling part of your relationship so far, the way that I'm pulling it, is that you have the best intentions. Both parties have the best intentions, and both parties really know how to care and be positive and be optimistic about relationships in general, but specifically about this relationship. There feels like there's a lot of optimism, but it's almost like this optimism is not channeled or applied well enough because the communication is skewed or too chaotic, because there's no discipline. Okay, let's see. We've got crystal, waterfalls. Clear your mind and cleanse your soul. Healing, cleansing, recharging. Clear your mind is especially standing out to me. A lot of you may also overthink this connection, and maybe the other person is also overthinking it. There's a lot of overthinking and a lot of like, they said this, I said this, I said it this way, they said it this way. What way did they mean it? Because I meant it this way, and I have positive intentions, and I'm optimistic about it, but are they not? And it's like this very rigid, like I'm kind of getting, you know, if you put a fly in a jar. I don't know why I'm getting the imagery. I'm getting the imagery of a fly in a jar. Or like if you're trying to get a fly out of your house or out of the window, you'll trap it in a glass in a piece of paper, you know, that kind of way. And the fly will be like zigzagging in the glass because it's so scared and it's so chaotic because it doesn't know what's going on. Like that's the way that your relationship with this person feels. But it's like you have the best intentions because, okay, so when you're trapping a fly, you're like, I'm going to release you where you're supposed to be. You know, you're in my house and you're bothering me a little bit, and I want to release you so that you're more comfortable as well. So let me trap you for a little second. You know, it's not going to take long, but I'm going to trap you right now because I need to let you out into your habitat. I'm going to trap you. And the fly is like, why the fuck are you trapping me? What the hell? Like, what is going on? Zigzag, zigzag in the jar, in the cup, whatever. And then you release it and the fly is like, oh shit, what was that? Like, you know, that kind of way. So it kind of feels like that's the way that your relationship with this person. Maybe both of you periodically feel trapped by each other. But it's like you trap each other in order to release each other, and every single time you have the best intentions, but it's like it gets missed in translation. Like, some of you could have, I don't know if this will resonate with all of you, probably not, but some of you could have a language barrier, or like the way you communicate. There's like a barrier because one person is used to communicating with one kind of way and one type of body language or one way of expressing themselves, and another person has a completely different way of communicating. And I keep hearing lost in translation. Lost in translation. But it's just so funny to me because both people here have the best intentions. Like, both people really want to be positive and really optimistic and really, it's like, I just want to be nice. I want to be nice and I want everything to be fine and I want everything to be good. But it's just like, I keep getting panicked and there's a lot of chaos. And it's like, this person traps me and I trap them. But I don't even know I'm trapping them. I'm trying to help them. You know, there's a lot of that. A lot of anxiety. Maybe both of you suffer with anxiety, or one of you maybe suffers with anxiety, and maybe that is also something that has a very real knock-on effect on your relationship. But there's a need to just be very honest about what you're doing as you're doing it. It's kind of like, you know, if you were to go for a procedure and you went to the surgeon and you were like, right, so you're telling me I need this surgery, what's gonna happen? And the surgeon was like, oh, I'm too busy right now and I can't explain what I'm gonna do in the surgery, like, you'll just see when I do it. Like, you would be really fucking scared to go into the surgery. And it's almost like there's a need to go, right, okay, well, the surgery is going to take place here, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what I'm going to do, and in the event of an emergency, this is what's going to happen. And like, that's almost the way that you and this person need to handle each other. That's the way. And again, it's like, developing that sort of discipline where you talk to each other that kind of way. We've got productivity with the pumpkin card. That makes sense to me. And we've got leadership. One of you will have to take the leader stance on this connection and actually establish this discipline. One of you will have to take the lead in this discipline side of things. If you want this relationship to last, or you want this relationship to move forward, there will need to be a leader amongst you two. That holds the, maybe I also keep getting the white flag, and it's like I surrender, but it's not that you need to surrender to this person, or it's like you're giving up, or you're saying like you win. That's not it. It's more like I feel like sometimes the two of you need to let each other know that you're safe for each other. Like, I'm safe. You need to know that I'm safe for you. I'm a safe person. So some of you might get triggered by this person because something about them feels like it's not safe. And I keep getting the devil card in my head, but then it gets crossed out. Like, the way that I'm visualizing, it's like the devil card and it gets crossed out. And a lot of you think that maybe a lot of you think that the other person's the devil, or is in some sort of way represents that devil energy, like addiction and being trapped and being controlled. And so there's that fear of it. But in reality, the cross, it's kind of like, no, there's no devil energy really there. It's more like it's this Knight of Swords energy. It's so chaotic, it can start imitating the devil energy. But at its very core, that's not what it is. You don't need to be scared of this person. And this person doesn't need to be scared of you. But what you do need to do is that you need to be very open about what's going to happen next when I talk to you. Here's how I'm going to act with you. Here's how I'm going to interact with you. Here's what you can expect from me. Here's how I communicate, and this is why I talk like this. And I'd like to hear why you talk the way that you do. Like, there's a need to interact from that point of view. And I keep hearing like we're from different, like it feels like we're from different planets. There's almost this feeling of like we're from different planets. We're from completely different, like, it almost feels like you get so confused by each other that you get scared. It's like you're scared. Oh, well, like, that makes sense. We're scared of things that we don't understand. We're scared of things in life that we don't understand. And the truth is that some of you might think that this person doesn't like you. They just don't understand you. And I wonder if this person thinks that you don't like them. You just don't understand them. And maybe you understand some of them. You understand certain points. But you don't fully. And the reason that you fully don't understand each other is because you never kind of not that you never cared to explain to each other who you truly are. But again, maybe you didn't listen. Or they didn't listen. It's like if you just sit down and listen to each other and actually hear what the other person is trying to say, then you will know. I mean, if you are in a connection with this person, a friendship or something like that, and you're like, it's not that bad, maybe it started out that way. Like, for a lot of you, I wonder if that's just the way that it started out and you kind of got to a point where you learned. Because with the Sun card being at the very core, it makes me think that when you finally do connect to this person and finally there is this kind of understanding of each other's energy and each other's approach to life and each other's communication styles, this will actually be a very productive connection. So you could actually, it's funny because Eight of Pentacles is about productivity. And then we've got the pumpkin here. It's like, this is actually a relationship or a connection that can be very productive, but not in a way that you expect. It's productive in your ability to understand people and your perspective on life. You and this person were always meant to bring a new perspective to life, to each other. And in a way, you actually craved this new perspective. It feels like you pulled this person into your life because you were craving a different perspective on life. And that's uncomfortable when you are forced or you're faced with a new perspective that you weren't aware of before. That can be a bit stressful as well. But in reality, subconsciously, to some sort of level, you wanted that to occur. And for those of you that you've had this relationship for a long time now, or you've been in this connection or friendship with this person for a long time now, you're gonna broaden each other's minds a lot, and you're gonna give each other's new perspective constantly. There's a consistent, like, here's a new perspective, here's a new perspective. And in a way, it's allowing for a very productive kind of a relationship, because the productivity of this relationship lies in the two of you looking at things from almost like a big picture point of view. Also, I feel like if you want this relationship to feel better or to improve, now this has to be a mutual decision, but you need to be engaged with your inner child in order for this connection to improve. It's almost like, I wonder also, doing inner child type of activities with this person can actually really help. So like maybe going out somewhere, like I'm getting imagery of you and this person at like a on a roller coaster, or like at a park, doing like really fun things. And it helps when you don't talk to each other, or that you don't talk about like maybe big life things, or you know, things that are very serious. It kind of diffuses the energy. And once you have done something fun or very childlike, something for your inner child, you're able to come back and have those conversations with a lot more clarity. It's like being in your inner child state around this person brings you clarity about this person. These cards just don't want to come out. I've been shuffling them for a while. Okay, we've got cardinal energy here. So you and this person could have a lot of cardinal signs. I mean, we do have Cancer and Libra here as well, which are cardinal signs. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Very pushy energy in a way. So maybe some of you feel a bit pushed by this person, or you feel like they're a bit too pushy in their approach to you. Maybe you feel pushed by their standpoint or their perspective. But in reality, it's like you called in this perspective in many ways. But I'm not, it's not to say you chose anything like maybe negative that happened with this person, but you were craving a certain part of this person's opinion. It's kind of like, you know, when we debate people, it's like, if we didn't want to debate someone, we wouldn't even engage. But sometimes we debate with certain people or certain characters who maybe we don't even really resonate with, but like we feel the need to debate them. Sometimes to change their mind, but sometimes we're actually craving their perspective too. We're craving to see what they have to say about it. And I feel like I'm just going to leave that there with you. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I feel like you were craving this person's perspective from a certain point of view. And then we've also got Neptune, dream and transcend. It feels like you're meant to transcend this difficult energy. And for a lot of you, I feel like you're not there yet. You haven't gotten to this point yet, but you will. There is this feeling like you will get over the hump with this person. You will get over the difficulty with this person. I feel like your best way to do it is through inner child energy. Connecting to the inner child. For a lot of you, I feel like water parks for some reason are coming through, like going with this person to a water park, or like going to maybe like a any sort of like amusement park. For some reason that's coming through, because I keep seeing imagery of that. We've got 12th house. There's a lot of subconscious fears that I think, because with the Neptune as well, it makes me feel like there's a lot of subconscious fears that you trigger in one another, but you don't even understand yourself what those fears are. And again, it's like fears of the unknown. The two of you represent the very fabric of what the unknown is. There's this feeling like you represent the unknown to me, and therefore I'm scared of you. And maybe you're meant to trigger each other's fear of the unknown so that you can get over the unknown, and so that you can just accept that there's no way of knowing everything. And there's no way. I keep hearing it's like, I did not expect to meet a person like you. There's that kind of feeling with the two of you. Or, you know, if this is a family relationship or you've known each other for a very long time, it's like you're still such a mystery to this person. It's like, I didn't expect to have this person in my life. If this is like a parent relationship or something, like, I don't know what kind of a connection you have with this person. It's like this parent might even be thinking like, how did this child even, like, how did a person like me have a child like this? And they're not looking at it from a point of view of like, oh, I'm good and they're bad. It's more like, how are we so different? It almost seems like we come from different planets, from different universes. Like, there's, like, how are we so different? But I have good intentions towards this person. I have good, I do have good intentions towards you. I keep hearing that from this person's point of view almost. It's like, I do have good intentions towards you. I do want to feel connected to you. I am optimistic that we can get on and that we can work this out. And we've got Virgo. I analyze. There's too much. I feel like there's a lot of overthinking that's happening from both parties. Very analytical, but also very confused. Almost kind of feels like the analysis is skewed. You know what this reminds me of? If you were like sitting down to do maths, like doing maths homework or something like that, and you were sitting down and you were doing a problem and you were trying to solve a problem, like, you know, you're doing algebra or something, you're trying to solve for X. And the whole time you're like, I can't for the life of me figure out this formula. I can't figure out how I'm supposed to get the right answer. Like, I just don't understand it. I'm so confused. I am so confused. And then you realize you were missing like part of the problem, or you were missing part of like an element somewhere in there. And you go, oh, I was missing this the whole time. I was missing like this one little bit the whole time. And that's why I was so confused. And I was getting so frustrated. And I was getting so angry. And I was getting so, you know, down on myself. But the whole time I was actually missing like this one element. It's like, you know, when you try to solve a challenge or a problem and the whole time you're like, why am I not getting this? Like, I should be getting this. What am I missing? And it literally does turn out that you're missing like a part of a puzzle. And I feel like the two of you, you and this person, are currently missing that like piece of the puzzle from each other in order to proceed with this connection or in order to proceed with this relationship. But the only thing that's stopping you from receiving this puzzle is discipline around your communication and discipline around listening. And for some of you, obviously, take what resonates. For some of you, maybe this person is just not willing to give that to you. And that is another conversation. That is another, like, you know, maybe they are so far gone in their communication that they're not able to come forward and communicate with you at all. But for a lot of you, I do feel like, again, from this, I'm getting this very strong energy of like, I have the best intentions. And I feel like that's a very resonant energy with Virgo, because Virgos can criticize you. Virgos can give you some shit sometimes. Virgos can point out your flaws. And you'll be like, what the hell? Like, leave me alone. Why are you pointing out all these flaws in me? And the Virgo is going to go, like, I'm doing it for your best. I'm doing it with the best intentions. I'm doing it for your own good. I'm pointing out the flaws in your thinking and the flaws in your actions for your own good. What do you mean, why am I doing it? I'm doing it for you. But it's like, maybe that's not what you need in that moment. And I wonder if you and this person Sometimes I kind of get a little bit of nitpicky energy. So for some of you, maybe you are nitpicky with this person, or this person has been nitpicky with you, or maybe it was like a mirrored energy where both of you were doing it. A lot of you do, I feel like a lot of you do need a break from this person though. You might need a bit of time away from this person. You might need to clear your head. Some of you maybe need to work on your own life, and with the leadership energy and the cardinal energy, it's kind of like a lot of you maybe have a lot to do within your own life and within your own situation. And your guides are kind of saying like there's a lot of compelling things about your relationship, honestly, with this person. The fact that you're so different from each other, the fact that you feel like you're from different universes, the fact that you have the best intentions for each other, but at the same time struggle to communicate that and struggle to have communication discipline to kind of create that understanding. There's so many compelling things about your relationship, but it's like no matter how much compelling stuff there is, the very truth of this relationship is that there needs to be a pause. You don't have to end this connection with this person. And if you're on good terms with this person, if you've gotten over this hump, if you've gotten over it, then I feel like maybe you're just watching this reading for curiosity reasons and you're like, oh yeah, like that happened. Yeah. Now, but I feel like if you've gotten over that hump and you've gotten over that like blockage, I think you're probably in a really good place with this person. And I feel like you feel like this connection is maybe one of the most productive connections of your life, where you have really learned something from this connection. You really, and not just about the person, but about yourself as well, how you solve problems, how you analyze life. Maybe this connection has forced you to realize that your way of doing things is not the only way of doing things. Again, I feel like you and this person are meant to, you were always meant to clash in some sort of way. That's what it feels like. You were always meant to bring a new perspective to each other. And so there was always going to be a little bit of a clash. And your guides are saying, if you are worried about this clash, whether it's happening currently or it has happened already, and if you're confused about this clash, don't be. It was always meant to happen because you were meant to confuse each other to such a point where you would start thinking about this whole thing, and you would not only analyze each other, but you would start analyzing yourselves and looking at things from a very different point of view, from a very different perspective. But at the end of the day, no matter how much analyzing you do, no matter how much like thinking you do, there's a place where it comes to a point where you need to just clear the energy. You need to clear the energy and you need to go, right, this is my new perspective. I've thought about it. I've analyzed it. Now let me just release it all. And let me, either talk to this person again or never talk to them again. But for a lot of you, I feel like you're going to get over this hump. It's just right now it's confusing. And for a lot of you, I feel like you've gone through it already and you're fine. Yeah, that's all I have for you, group number 3. I feel like everything's gonna be okay. I feel like maybe some of you are very worried about this connection, but I don't think your guides want you to be worried about it. I feel like your guides are saying it's all okay. Things will kind of come together with this connection when they're meant to. There's a bit of a poetic, I'm getting the energy of like, there's a poetic side to how this works out. It's not going to work out in a way that it makes sense to work out. To the human eye or to the human perception, this will work out the way it makes sense to work out for from the universe's point of view and perception. So I don't know. I don't know. This is a bit more of a confusing one, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Confusing doesn't mean bad. Confusion is neutral. Being perplexed is neutral. Okay. If you like this reading, do like, subscribe, and comment, especially with your feedback if you feel like it. But I am going to move on. So we're moving on to group number 4, and that is the Black Onyx group. Let's get into it. Let's see what the guides have for your connection with your person and what is so interesting, compelling, What is noteworthy about the connection that you share with the person that you're asking about, whether it's platonic, romantic, family? Let's see. Okay, we've got 9 of Wands and we've got the High Priestess in reverse. And one more card. I'm going to take this one. Queen of Cups in reverse. What's compelling about your connection with this person is that you don't fully trust each other and you are cold with each. I'm sensing massive amount of coldness right now, like very, very cold. Very cool, very like standoffish energy. But something about the fact that you're standoffish with each other and not very emotionally involved. It's very like emotionally removed. Something about that is very compelling. There's almost like a spiritual removal from each other as well. This one is a little bit confusing. Again, last group was a bit confusing, to be honest, but this one is also quite confusing because it feels like it's like, what's interesting about this connection? What's interesting about this connection is the lack of the connection rather than the presence of the connection. But it's not lack of the connection per se, it's lack of an obvious connection. So it feels like there's a lot of subtleties that are happening with this connection. Maybe there's this relationship may ride on a lot of subtleties. This relationship might rely on very subtle communication or very subtle interaction. And there's almost like, it feels like even lack of communication is communication in itself, or lack of interaction is interaction in itself sometimes. It almost feels like this relationship or this connection has so many intricacies that they become so minute and tiny and so small that it's like blink and you won't see it. Blink and you won't spot it. And so I wondered that's why it's so confusing. It might be confusing because it's hard to dissect, it's hard to understand, it's hard to process, it's hard to navigate this relationship. It may be very hard to navigate for a lot of you. Because it's so subtle. I feel like this is going to be, I don't know how you feel about these kind of readings, where it kind of goes into past lives and it's a little bit more like that. But I feel like there might be a little bit of that here. So I apologize for those of you that don't enjoy that side of things and you like to look at things from a more, present perspective where it's like life is happening currently right now in this present moment. But like, for some reason, I almost feel there's very mute energy here. It's like no speaking. So I feel like maybe a lot of you are not in contact with this person. There's no talking, no speaking, no interacting, and yet it's there. Yet there is communication, and it's almost like there's spiritual shit going on between the two of you, between the two people. But it feels like maybe you had some past lives that almost require you to have prolonged periods of you being mute with each other or you not interacting with each other. I mean, some of you will know this anyway, but a lot of you in this group are not meant to be around this person physically. Like, you're not meant to be in a relationship or in a friendship with this person. That's not going to be for all of you. But I feel like a lot of you who are watching this group are aware of that. And the idea of something being mute. Like, we're mute. But even when you're mute, you can still interact. You can still talk to each other through subtleties, body language, subconscious, dreams. It's very, very, there's something very like intricate The most compelling thing about this relationship is how intricate it is and how not everyone will be able to understand this relationship. Not even the people involved in it, to be honest. But it makes sense on some sort of universal level. Feel the flow. Let go of expectations and control. I feel like this is the kind of relationship where there can't be any expectations or control. Release, freedom, and surrender. For a lot of you, I feel like the ultimate point of this relationship is that you surrender and release this person. The ultimate goal here is to release. It kind of feels like maybe like two souls that have had lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes together, and they're finally ready to go their separate ways. And it almost feels like maybe in this lifetime that's what's meant to happen. It's like we're finally going our separate ways. We're finally releasing each other. But the goal here is not to release each other with the feeling of like, finally I released that person, or I'm so sad that I have to release that person. There needs to be almost a sense of neutrality and a sense of, I could take them or leave them. There's something about your connection that how you and this person are in a good place on a universal level almost, is that both of you look at each other and go, if they're here, they don't bother me, but I'm also not going to be sad if they're not here. It's almost impersonal. But like, it sounds harsh when I say it like that, but it kind of feels like it makes sense on a soul level for the two of you. And maybe it makes sense for some of you who are watching this reading right now. It's like, I could take them or leave them. I'll talk to them if they're here, but also, like, I'm not going to be missing them too much if they're not. It does feel like you're meant to free each other in some sort of way, whether it's through interaction or through a lack of interaction. You're meant to not be invested in this person by the end of this lifetime. That's almost what it feels like. And if you feel very invested in this person right now and you feel like that this is upsetting or that this reading doesn't resonate, like, I would just click out of this reading, because I feel like I need to relay this message that is coming through, and I feel like there will be people who will want to stick around for this specific message. You're not meant to be overly invested in this person at the end of the day. And if you want to stick around to hear this message and you feel like this is actually very helpful and it's something that you need to hear and it's something that you're like, you know what, I need to hear this. Okay, thanks guys. Like, let's talk about it. Like, okay, I'm ready. Then stick around. But I feel like for a lot of you, maybe it'll be hurtful or difficult to hear. And so I want you to kind of have the disclaimer to like maybe click off and move on. But I genuinely feel like you're meant to free each other. You and this person, the most compelling thing about your relationship is that you're meant to free each other, off each other, from each other. You're meant to release each other in some sort of way. And this is not only about, like, with group one, we had a lot of messages of detachment. And of course, detachment is also a part of the message here, but it's not that kind of detachment where it's like, I'm detached from the outcome, but, if this person comes in, I'm going to be really happy that they came in. You're just not meant to be invested in what this person has to offer you. You're not meant to be invested in their energy. I keep hearing, I've seen it all. There's nothing more for me to see here. And it's not meant to come from a place of, I'm disappointed. I've seen it all. What else is, this person has no way of disappointing me anymore. I've seen it all. Or it's not meant to be like, I've seen it all. Oh my God, this person has no other way of like making me happy. I've seen it all. They literally have done it all. It's meant to be both at the same time, and therefore it's like neutral. I wonder if you and this person have had so many lifetimes together, to the point where you quite literally have seen it all with each other. You've seen every little scenario, you've seen every little way of seeing each other, you've done everything possible with each other. I've seen it all. What else is there to see? That's what I keep hearing. And it's like, and it kind of feels like maybe one person or the other is always kind of like more detached or less and less invested. And I don't know, you'll know which one it is. Maybe it's you, maybe it's the other person, but there's this feeling of like one person always, or maybe you take turns, one person is always less invested than the other. But ultimately, neither of you are meant to be invested in each other at the end of the day. Your investment in each other is meant to dwindle completely. You're meant to show each other ultimate freedom from things that are positive, negative. It doesn't matter. I keep hearing that. It's like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it just does not matter. There must be almost this kind of feeling towards each other, and it's not because it's bad. It's neutral. The ultimate neutrality. When someone mentions this person's name, it's almost like neutrality. Nothing. You don't get moments of sadness. You don't get moments of joy. It's just, oh yeah, I remember I knew that person once. Like, there's that kind of feeling here with this group. It's very, like, I have to say, this is a very different group to all the rest of them. We've got victory. Victory does make me think of, like, it's like you're meant to be victorious in... The thing is, it's like a positive thing, but it's like we might not understand it from a human perspective. But it's like, in reality, when you've done everything you could, it's almost like something about this energy, you and this person, you have had lifetimes where you were enemies, you were best friends, you were allies, you were partners, you were, foes, you were, you opposed each other and you worked together in a team. You've done it all together. You've experienced each other through so many modalities that you've kind of like, well, you've done it all. Here's your crown. Here's your victory. You've done it all. What else can you do? There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to experience on a soul level. That's the way that it feels. And I don't know if it'll resonate with you, but just, that's what I'm getting. There's nothing else. There's literally nothing else. The only thing to do now is to grant each other freedom, grant each other release from some sort of contract, I suppose. Maybe there's a soul contract that's like, finally, in this lifetime, we move on with neutral hearts, with neutral energy. This is such a random message, but for some of you, I don't know if you're asking about a person that you don't even really know personally, but you feel this immense pull towards them, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's like, in this lifetime, you're just experiencing them as like an acquaintance or a stranger, but you feel this pull and you're like, wait a second, like, there's something between me and this person. Like, there's something between me and this person. But it's like, you know, at the same time on a subconscious level that you're meant to release this person. And that's why you're not even meant to interact maybe in this lifetime. It's like, you know them or you know of them, and they probably feel the same pull towards you. But it's like, if you got together, it may be a moment of like deep disappointment, or not even deep disappointment. It's kind of like, oh, like, I was so pulled towards you, but now that I'm like around you, I'm kind of bored. And I don't mean this like as an insulting thing towards you or the person. It's like, you obviously have your beauty, but you've experienced it all. You've seen it all. You're not meant to interact with this person that much. Like, genuinely, it feels like if you do know this person personally, but like, again, it's like, if you do, let's say you do know this person personally, and it's like a friend that you've had for a very long time, and maybe this lifetime started out as you being best friends, and you're meant to grow apart. It's like, but it's not a bad thing. It's not a thing of like, we can never hold love for each other, or we can never like give a shit about each other. It's more like, oh, well, our time together is done now. We're done here. You're done. You're done. But not in a bad way. There's nothing negative about it. Like with the Chiron, it hurt and heal. You have hurt with this person and you have healed with this person, and you have hurt with this person and you have healed with this person, and it's on and on and on and on and on and on. And you've done so much with this person. You've hurt and you've healed, and you've hurt and you've healed, that there's nothing else to hurt or heal at this point. I'm telling you, it feels like I keep getting enemies to lovers, or like lovers to enemies, but it's like cycles. You've done that so many. It's like you've done it so much that you're like, it's kind of boring now, and I'm not even invested in it anymore, so I feel like I want to go another route now. You've hurt and you've healed, and you've hurt and you've healed. And we've got Gemini. Curiosity, intellect, and networking. I'm more so picking up on the curiosity side of things. You were so curious. It feels like both of your souls were so curious to experience. It almost feels like you and this person are honestly like the ultimate soulmates, if we were going to go that route. But it's like the ultimate soulmates, not because you're like super in love or you're like obsessed with each other, and maybe you are to a point, I don't know your situation, but it almost feels like you're the ultimate soulmates because the ultimate soulmates experience so much together that they're just ready to let each other go at some point. It's like your curiosity got you to a point where you're like, well, shit, I'm not curious anymore. Like there's something like that I'm getting. It's like there's nothing in me to even be curious anymore. There's nothing in me to even show any sort of curiosity because I've seen it. Like, what else could you possibly show me at this point? And it doesn't come from a place of like, what could you possibly show me? Like, I'm so much better than you. It's not in that kind of way. It's just like, genuinely, there's nothing that I could show you, and there's nothing else that you could show me. Seen it all. That's what it feels like. And that's the most compelling thing about this feels like two souls that just like reincarnated together constantly. Like, it's like you experienced each other as acquaintances, as enemies, as partners, as friends, as, you know, maybe even parent, child. Like, you've had all kinds of relationships with this person. All types. It's like, name a type of relationship, you and this person have experienced it on some sort of energetic level. That's what it feels like. Scorpio, I transform. You've transformed each other's like energy and souls on so many levels, in so many different ways, from so many different perspectives. There's nothing left. It's like you've reincarnated and reincarnated and reincarnated together. And like, I'm sorry if that's not the kind of reading that you were hoping for, but I just have to read what I'm seeing here. And it's like you are only maybe obsessed with this person because this person feels like a mystery to you. And maybe, honestly, this person could be obsessed with you too. If you're not fully like aware of this person's opinion on you, they could be feeling exactly the same. But it almost feels like when two people that like just come together, I don't know, like I've heard of this a lot where like people will talk about like how attracted they were to someone and they were so into them, and it's like, but as soon as they got together and started talking to them and maybe like spent some time with them, they realized, oh, like actually there's nothing here. Sorry, there's nothing here. And that's what it feels like. And maybe for some of you this is like an intense crush that you feel with this person, or maybe you have like, I don't know, I keep getting that for some of you you're asking about a celebrity, in which case like if you're asking about a celebrity, I don't know, like it's just, it's like, if it's almost like, no offense, but if you met the celebrity you may be kind of bored by them. Like you might be so obsessed with them and think that they're so great or something like that, or they're like your idol or something like that. And you're like, I just know we would really get on, and I can tell, like, you know, and then if you actually met this person, yes, maybe you would get on, but you'd kind of be bored by them. That's almost the energy that I'm picking up on. And if this is someone that's currently in your life, maybe you are feeling guilty because you're currently noticing that you are starting to feel a little bit bored by their energy. And your guides are like, don't be bored, or don't be bored. Don't be feeling ashamed of that. Like, you were always meant to kind of be bored with this person in the end because you've tried it all. You were always meant to not be very invested in this in the end. Yeah, I feel like you've had a lot of difficult lifetimes with this person. You've seen it all. I keep getting you've seen it all with them. You've seen it all with them. They're not... And it's like, I keep getting this sense of like, we could sit here for hours trying to explain how you're connected to this person and where this connection came from and where it was meant to bring you. But the ultimate truth here seems to be that you were always meant to just detach from each other. But it's not because there was nothing between you. It's because there was everything between you. It's like you and this person had it all, or you and this, like, your energy and their energy had it all. They've battled it out. They've healed each other's wounds. They've helped each other. They've betrayed each other. They've loved each other. They cared for each other. They've, attacked each other. There's been that's the way that it feels. It's like everything happened here. And at the end of the day, I grant you freedom and I release you and I forget you. You are always meant to, it's almost like you were always meant to forget each other. That's what it feels like. And it's like, don't be sad about it. Do if you want to be. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it's like you were always just meant to forget each other. It was always meant to accumulate to, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Everything is okay. Let go of expectations and control. But I feel like in this lifetime, whatever this person represents to you or whoever they are to you, don't be worried if you don't have... Like, if you are personally in a connection with this person right now, and maybe it started out as very intense and it dwindled into something very hey, how are you? Don't be sad. Don't be saddened by that. It's just that was always the purpose of this connection. That was always... but you are this person has had a huge impact on you. And not just in this lifetime. It's like you owe a lot to this person. This person owes a lot to you in terms of your progress and your development and your evolution. It could have been, for a lot of you, it could have been a connection or a relationship or a friendship where it started out super passionate and super exciting, and you really loved talking to each other, and there was maybe even some obsessive feelings towards each other at the start, and slowly it moved into, I don't know if I'm that obsessed with you anymore. In fact, I feel like I'm not obsessed with you at all, and maybe I'm not actually invested in you anymore, and that makes me feel a bit worried and nervous. But your guides are like, no, you were meant to be curious about this person. You were meant to connect to the curiosity. You were meant to heal certain parts. You were meant to challenge certain parts of each other. And then you were just meant to let go and release. And for a lot of you, maybe a lot of these elements actually happened in this lifetime. But for some of you, I feel like it's spanning over lifetimes. And in this lifetime, maybe in this lifetime, all you're meant to do with this person is see them somewhere. Like, again, as I said, if someone is asking here about a celebrity, like, you're just meant to watch them on a screen. Or if this is just someone who, like, works in your job and you don't really know them, you've never really spoken to them, but you have this, like, pull towards them, you were always just meant to observe them and see them in the hallways and say hello to them and maybe be a bit obsessive with them, to not to like any weird degree or anything like that, but maybe have some obsessive thoughts about them, but then release them. Because it feels like obsession and attachment. And And that's a cycle that I feel you and this person, either you and this person have gone through all your life so far, or the duration of your relationship, but it's meant to end in some sort of detachment. It's meant to end in some sort of like, okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your work, and you know, it was nice working with you. It was nice dealing with you, but you know, see you never. Like there's that kind of feeling. It's meant to end in that energy. But I feel like you've gone through periods of deep obsession with each other. And I feel like in this lifetime, maybe your past lifetime, there was a deep obsession with each other. I think in this lifetime, you're actually meant to break that. And you're meant to go from obsession to disinterest to a certain degree. And again, I don't mean to say it to disappoint you or make you feel upset about it. It's just the way the cards are bringing me the message, and it's ultimate freedom and detachment that is the purpose of this relationship. And it's also the most compelling thing about this relationship, that ultimately the two of you and the two of your souls are meant to forget each other on some sort of level and achieve ultimate sense of neutrality and freedom. So that's all I have for you, group number 4. Very interesting reading, honestly. I'm fascinated. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you liked it, do like, subscribe, and comment, especially with your feedback. I'd really love to hear your feedback. Yeah, especially on this one. This one has me shook. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you in my next reading. Bye.